Welcome back to another tier list video. You might have noticed that a few of my videos have been unlisted recently, and that's because I didn't like them. So I'm making a video I do like, and that is a Fairy Tail RPS staff member tier list. I got the list of everyone who's been staff and is staff, and I'm going to rank them on how well they did as staff or are doing as staff, or how much potential they have. If you don't know, Fairy Tail RPS is a Minecraft server that I used to play a lot back in 2016 and 2019. I don't play it as much anymore. And I've basically gotten a list of everyone who's been staff and is staff, and I'm going to rank them on how well they did as staff or are doing as staff, or how much potential they have, based on how good they are on the server to everyone as a whole, rather than just how they treat me, because let's be honest, staff don't like me. I'm kind of rebellious. First up, we have Nyan, which is an easy S tier. Nyan was really good back in the day. They were mature when they needed to be, they were fun with the community and interacted with people, and no one was really against them. Everyone liked Nyan, or as we called them, Momo. They were never really controversial or bad. And yeah, overall, great staff member. Next we have Ben. I didn't play too much when Ben was staff, but he was a builder. He had some quests made, and they never got used. Hopefully they'll be used. He was demoted. I don't actually know the reason. My impression is that he was a good staff who was treated unfairly. Overall, I don't think he was toxic at all. He seems like a fun guy. I'm gonna throw him in C tier as I don't really know too much about his situation. Honestly, he's probably in B, but I don't know yet. Next we have Justice, who's going to be B tier, probably low B tier. I was considering putting him high C, but I feel like B is more, it suits him better. Now, Gel used to be really active when he was staff. I believe he was a mod builder, but I could be wrong. He could have just been mod. And I think he did a good job. He got on Mind Chat when he could because he was Australian, so when everyone else was on, he was asleep. He wasn't very unbiased, and he did moderate the chat well. He did a good job as staff, and when he resigned, no one really blamed him. We got Panda going in high D tier, hopefully. Now, the thing is, I wouldn't put Panda in C tier. It isn't that he's a bad staff member, he's just very inactive from what I'm seeing. Now, for all I know, he could be logging on when I'm not on, but the only times I've actually seen him on were one time we had a permanent reflect on and he came on to try and stop it, which he didn't succeed at, to be fair. It's not that he's a bad staff member, he's just inactive, which in his defense, he could have things going on in his life that prevent him from getting on. But from my perspective right now, it's going to be D tier. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad staff member. Our second S tier is going to be Acnologia, who's very active for an admin. He knows what he's doing, and he's liked by almost everyone. I don't know when he got staff, but he's been staff for a long time and ranked up from builder. He's donated a lot to the server and to the community. Anyways, I can put him here because in his staff review, he had a rating of 9 out of everyone in the server that voted for him. So that's pretty good compared to like the owner who only had 7.9. Speaking of the owner, here he is. Woo, Dractorus. This is his old skin and username, but I don't care. It's more iconic. He's going in A tier. Now I get that he's the owner of the server himself, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. We like Momo and Acnologia a bit more. Now I've known for a long time. Maybe not personally, but I've known the guy because I've played the server for about 4 years. And I've been on and off. And he's never really been unfair to specific players. He's not too biased, but what he does do is he gets drunk and he comes on the server and does drinking games with the other staff members, some of which aren't on this list because I don't know them. He's killed multiple players before without paying them back, but to be fair, it's his server, he does what he wants. As a player, I think he's a cool owner because he shows people spells sometimes, which they're like, oh my goodness, that's so cool. And to streamers on the server, he usually gives them benefits to better advertise the server. So all in all, good owner. You got Vanish, which is going high A tier. Vanish, I don't actually know about his time as staff, but what I do know is Vanish is a well-liked player by the community. A lot of people joke around saying he's the best staff member. even when he's not staff, so I have to assume when he was staff, he did a good job. I don't have too much to say about him, but I believe he was a helper and resigned. In nature, he's going to go in low A tier. I was going to put him in high B, but I feel like A is better suited for him. Nature was really good as a staff member, I think, but he did have a few flaws, which is why I can't put him in S tier. S tier is basically just the perfect staff members for the server, in my opinion. Nature, he was liked by the community a lot. He did events for everyone, which were fun. And I think all in all, he was really good at what he did. And he was a moderator. We got Soul, which I'm going to have to put in D tier with Panda. Now, personally, I think Soul is a good builder, which is what he's applied for twice now. The first time, I believe he was either demoted or resigned. Resigned makes more sense to me because at the time, player activity was really low and all the staff either resigned or were demoted for inactivity around that time. Now he's reapplied for builder and he's done his build trial, I believe. I'm not sure how it went. But being good at building doesn't make a good staff member. It's one of the pieces to it, I guess. Either way, Soul, in my opinion, is a very biased player and not very friendly, which not all staff are, but I personally think for a server like RPS, being friendly as a staff is like the utmost importance because the environment already makes people rage or upset or bullying occurs, and a staff member bullying players isn't really great for the server. That's not in a joking way. I just don't think he's cut out for staff specifically. We got Gloom. He's going to go in C tier with Ben. Gloom I haven't seen too much from. I know that he has good intentions for players around him, but I don't know if staff is meant for him. He seems more like a person who plays the server and helps out other players, and managing the server while doing that doesn't seem like a thing he's good at to me. I don't necessarily think he's bad at it, I just don't think it's something he excels at. I don't dislike Gloom. I think he's really cool. He's friendly, I know, and he has the best interest in helping new players. However, I do know he can be hostile and stalkers in some situations, but I won't go into that in detail. All in all, he's pretty good for staff, just not cut out for it. Next, we got EJ. EJ is one of the old staff members, and I'd put him at A or B, high B, low A. I'm going to put him right above nature. Because personally, I think EJ was one of those childish staff members at the time. I do believe he was young and came back to the server older, not as a staff anymore, and he was more mature. But at the time, he was fun to hang around. He never had any drama or inconsistencies as staff. I think everyone remembers him, or at least all the old players do, because he was really fun to hang around. He made nice customs, and he did a good job as staff. We got Oreos, which I'm actually going to put in high B tier rather than low A. As much as I think Oreos did a really good job on the server, he did get demoted from admin to mod builder at one point, and that's when his inactivity started to go up, and eventually was completely demoted. As one of the first people to get admin, apart from Acnologia, I think Oreos did a really good job as staff, and I think his only issue was he abused a bit here and there, but it was all in good fun. So I'm going to say high B, low A, but keep him in high B. We got Death Spree, which I don't actually know too much about. All I know is he was a moderator during the times when I was inactive, and he was friendly, I know. He eventually joined my guild around the time I tried coming back, but it just didn't work. And then he quit. I ended up quitting. I'm going to put him in low B tier right now because I don't know too much about his staff experiences. But I know as a player, he was friendly, just a bit inactive. We got Jack F. Kelly. In the old Bleach server, he came on for some events. And he also came on to RPS for a bit. And we had like a big 20v1 against him. And it was really fun. He was using our own spells, he had a ton of health, and he wouldn't die. So from that experience alone, he probably works behind the scenes on the server. And when he does come on, he's friendly to the players, and everyone has a good time. I'm going to put him in B, in the middle of everything. Because I think he was a good staff member, but I don't know too much about him to put him up or down. But yeah, Jack was really fun. We got Livy, which the community as a whole really thinks is nice. No one's really against her. I don't think she's a bad staff member. I just think I wasn't on enough to have an impression of her, is all. But on the side where she started being inactive is when I started to play again, and that's kind of what I got from that. We got Trix, the Trickster 101, going in F tier. See, the issue with Trix was he was really toxic as a player, and when he was getting his build test, he passed it, but he snuck a ton of elytras into his ender chest, and because of that, the owner demoted him instead of banning him, which I think was fair. But yeah, he was never really staffed for long enough to prove he was good, and basically flunked. We got Willie's going in low C tier. I don't think he was a bad staff member, I just think he wasn't fit for it. It's the same situation with Gloom and him. I think the issue with Will is he was just really inactive during his time. We got SSP, which I don't know the whole situation with, but he's going in low D because I believe he got demoted for something. It was the same situation with Trix, except he was actually staff for a while and did a good job at it. However, I don't know the entire situation, so I'm going to keep him in low D for now. So I ended up praising him, and then turns out he did something terrible, and I ranked him very wrongly. Either way, I think SSP was a fun staff member around the time he was, and whatever happened was probably something he'd been doing behind the scenes that Fo found out about. We got Cab. Cab I'm gonna put around here, above jail, but not above Oreos. Now, Cab, he was fun as both a player and probably staff. I don't think he would have changed when he got staff. I'd imagine he'd be a helper and he'd be nice to players that are both new and old, because that's just kind of the vibe he gives off. I think he's quit since then, but when he does pop in, he's still fun. But yeah, he finds joy in little pranks on people. And personally, I don't think he likes drama. And I'd say he's a good fit for staff. I just don't know how he was when he was staff. Next, we got Mika, who at the time I'd imagine was a good staff member. But all my memories of him are me being toxic towards him or him being toxic towards me. Because back in the day, people liked to bully me since I didn't have much self awareness. So, for the most part, I'd imagine Miko was a good staff and got along with most of the community. I just don't have any memories of them being helpful staff towards me specifically. So, me being unbiased, I'm going to keep him here. We got Hundi. Alright, Hundi's gonna go right here. Now, Hundi, I think, is a good staff member. The issue is he's only a helper, so he can't do much right now. However, Hundi, I get the impression that he just wants to be friends with everyone, regardless of his friends having disputes with other people, and then that's kind of the thing he gets dragged into, which isn't his fault. I just feel like that's his only downside. I'd say he's B tier. I haven't seen him on too often, but when he is, I'd imagine he's helping new players and old ones to the best of his ability. We got Brandon, who I'm going to put in C tier, just under Livy and above Ben. The thing about Brandon is, I think he did a good job at staff, because I know Brandon either got demoted or resigned around the time the server was inactive. But either one of those, I think Brandon wasn't a bad staff member, but at the same time wasn't a great one. So I'm going to put him in C tier rather than B. We've got Screaming Echo, who I believe was only a helper and eventually a builder at one point, and then they went inactive. But at the time when Echo was staff, I think he did a really good job. And for that, I'm going to put him right here in A tier. I think Echo did a really good job. He made a resource pack for the server, which he's still updating, I believe. And when he was a builder, I believe he did good work. So for those reasons, I'm going to put him in A tier. We got Astral Nightmare. He's going... I'd put him about here. So Astral, I don't think he was a bad staff member. I just think he wasn't fit for a staff role. The thing is, he killed low-ranked players, which there's a rule on the server about, constantly. He'd kill low-ranked players and steal their money, wouldn't pay back most of the time, and when he did, it was usually when he killed a large amount of players. I don't necessarily think he's a bad staff member, just a bad person. Either way, he was fun. The community liked him for the most part, and he even hosted an event with Nature Caller at one point that gave over £500 back to the server, which is really nice. But all in all, as a staff member, he bribed players into his own guild at the time, so I want to keep him lower on the list. Next we have Hoshi, which I'm going to have to put in D tier for inactivity. Hoshi, I remember being builder, or trial builder at least, and either he failed his trial or he passed it and then was just very inactive and got demoted for that. I didn't know too much about him, but I remember him being a fun player and having a few friends on the server. Either way, D tier. Next we got T-Cork, which is another S tier. Now, Cork at the time when he was active was really helpful to the server. He impacted a ton of changes into the server and was really friendly to everyone. He tried his best to host events, and I remember nagging at him one time for doing a bad job, but in reality he was just trying to do a good job and I was salty over it. Looking back now, he was a really good staff member, and it's a shame that he either resigned or went inactive and got demoted for it. But yeah, S tier. We got Maddie S99, who's gonna go top of A tier actually. Now the thing about Maddie is, I think she could be an S tier staff member. Her only weakness is being influenced by her friends a lot. I haven't talked to her too much, but when I have, it's pretty apparent that she does a lot of things to benefit her friends over regular players, which is biased, but I don't think she has any bad intentions is the thing. Maddie overall is a really good staff member. She knows what she's doing, she's mature, and Fo likes her overall. Either way, I can't put her in S tier for reasons pertaining to a few people. Next we got Bacon, who I'm gonna put in C tier. Bacon's been accepted for staff twice now. First time was trial advertiser, which people were against because his spelling and grammar is a bit off, and advertiser's a job where you practically need grammar to show you're professional when you're advertising the server. Either way, I don't think he deserves any backlash for that. And then now he's been accepted for helper, which I think is good because I think Bacon's one of those people who can't assert himself into being rude to people. It's like a teacher and they have a small child who is yelling at them slurs and swears, and the teacher's like, "Calm down, please. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to send you to the office." Bacon gives me that kind of vibe. He's really nice to people, and he does his best to benefit them. I'm not gonna put him in B tier because I haven't seen him as a staff too much. I don't think he'll get corrupted by power. That would be dumb. And I think he's a good pick for staff. Next we got Kamana 4, who I'm gonna put high A tier. Now, I don't know much about Kaman, but basically his philosophy, in my eyes, is he wants the server to be better. He wants to bring in new players to the server. He wants the best for the server. And he's been trying to implement changes for a while, from what I can understand. And all in all, I think he's a good staff member. I don't know how active he is or what he's done yet as a staff member, but he was accepted as a helper, and I think he's friendly to most of the community, does things to benefit people, is honest, trustworthy, and yeah, that's why I'm putting him in A tier. I'm gonna put Doll right below EJ. Now, Doll was another admin, and I believe she resigned, because I don't think she would have been demoted. Now, Doll's been staff for a while, like a long time, and when she was staff, she had a lot of friends on the server. She wasn't ever really in any dramas, and when she was on the receiving end rather than starting drama. I think she's a great staff member, especially because she's really unbiased and doesn't get annoyed easily. We got Hannah. Now, Hannah I'm putting in S tier. Hannah's one of the old staff members, but I think she came back recently because her name changed and she logged back on the server and for the first time in a while. Hannah, I remember being really friendly and having a lot of the community like her back in the day, and she was one of the people that made the server really fun. So for those reasons, I'm putting in her in S tier because she was never toxic towards anyone. She didn't have any drama. I believe she was demoted for inactivity or resigned. I can't remember which. We got Vic. I'm gonna put him in A tier, just over here. Now, Vic was a builder at the time, and although he wasn't that active when he was on, majority of the community really liked him, and I think he did a great job as a staff member. Personally, I really liked Vic. I thought he was great. The community liked him a lot, and although he went inactive and got demoted for it, I still think that he did a good job as staff. We got Dusk. Out of the 5D tier staff members, I think Dusk was probably the best of them. He pretty much abused by flying through quests as his time being staff, and was demoted for it, which is why I'm putting him in D tier. I don't think he's in F tier because he did have a good majority of the player base like him, despite doing this. Whereas Trix only had a few friends who were also toxic like him. We got Kurai. I'm gonna put him below Death Spree, so he's low B tier. I didn't actually know he was staff at any point. I only recently found out, and when he was staff, I wasn't active, so I don't know how it went. All I do know is Kurai has been an active player for a long time, throughout 2016 to 2018. No. I do know Kurai played from 2016 to 2017 at the very least, and he had the best intentions for the server, from what I know. He made skins for people that they could buy with in-game jewels, as he made for Acnologia, which you can probably see the resemblance. And yeah, I think Kurai would have made a good staff member. I don't know when he resigned or was demoted, but yeah, he's not staff anymore. We got Torchbull. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Now, I don't actually know what happened with him. I think he was demoted and banned, because it shows he's banned on the website and he tried appealing before. All I know is that he was a really fun player at the time. I don't think he was mature enough to be staff on the server at the time, but I do think he would have made a good staff member. He's fun, like Momo, and really cool to hang around. The only thing is, I don't actually know what happened to him. I don't know if it was inactivity. I don't know if he abused. I'm gonna keep him in the middle of C tier for now because I don't really know what happened there. And lastly, I'm gonna put Celestial bottom C tier. Now, funny story. I had this whole list. I had every person and all the names written out in order to remember who was who. And all of them I could recognize except for Celestial. I looked at his Minecraft skin for 2 hours straight, and I was like, who is this man? Because his skin looks so similar to Brandon's. They look the exact same. His is just slightly darker. And I thought that was hilarious. But anyways, Celestial, personally, I don't think he's going to make a good staff member. He got accepted for helper. I feel like that's going to go down in a train wreck. The only reason I'm not putting him in F or D is because potentially he could, be like a good staff member or be favorited by foe. I don't really know. My impression on Celestial is that he wants new players to feel welcome to the server, and he makes old players that he doesn't like feel terrible. Basically, I'm not against him, but I think he's a very biased player is the issue. I would put him in D tier, but he has potential is the thing. Now, I know all the RPS players are going to watch this and assume I'm being toxic and favoritist towards people. Is favoritist a word? Probably not. But I just wanted to make this because I thought it'd be a fun idea, give my personal opinions on all the staff members. All in all, I think everyone in A tier and above did a really good job as staff. People in B to C tier, I don't know too much about. And then D to F tier were people who kind of flunked. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.